Founder Wisdom Pod, AI Edition with Shivam Ramphal. He is the dad and the co-founder of Maya AI. Interesting tool that is right there. To me, it seems like Maya just answers all my business questions. So it's kind of instead of me having my BI dashboard, I just plug in the app and ask Maya for a couple of questions. Hey, Maya, how much traffic did we have this week? What did you see in terms of difference with the last couple of weeks? Is that related with the Ukraine war, whatever?
Right.
I guess I could ask a bunch of questions. Cool tool, Shivam. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and about Maya?
Yeah, so just to introduce myself really quickly. Well, before I do that, thank you, Charles, for having me on this podcast. Really good stuff here. So to introduce myself really quickly, hey everyone, my name is Shivam Ramphal. I'm one of the co-founders of Maya AI. I'm actually 23 years old here in Tampa, Florida. My background was in healthcare, specifically in radiology. I've done a lot of, in-person classes, a lot of shadowing at the hospitals. I worked at the hospitals. I used to work at Shriners Hospital building prosthetic legs and arms for kids. Fun things, right? And then I jumped into our last startup with my two brothers, right? So Maya AI is founded by three brothers. I am the youngest out of all three. And what Maya really is a generative AI robot that provides different insights on internal and external data. So as Charles mentioned earlier, like some of the questions you can ask Maya, like, hey, Maya, can you look at this sales projection in the last 3 months and tell me what the market looks like today? So what Maya is able to do on the internal side is fetch things relatively quick, give you that answer. And then based on external data like trends, market analysis, tie that into the query that you're asking and provide a much more strategic, more relevant insight on that side. So that's a little bit
Pretty
about
cool.
Maya.
Yeah, 22, man. Like, so your brothers, they're pretty ambitious, starting their own startup. And I guess you're even more ambitious. Like, what led you to quit on the prosthetics side of things? Because that's pretty nice. Like you said, it's very mission driven. It's helping people. What decision led you to transitioning to the founder world?
Yeah, wonderful question. So myself and my two other brothers has been working together for 15 years plus. So I've been working with them since I was a little kid, right? Doing all kinds of things, packaging, shipping, all kinds of stuff like that, right? So when I got out of healthcare, and this was after school, right? I was like, what can I do? What do I want to do? Do I want to go to school for this? Da 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 da. And since I was already working with my two brothers, we had this vision of creating something new, right? Because in the previous startup, we were mostly software development, call center oriented, all these other things. And me and my two other brothers, we were like, we have to make a change. Let's make something more valuable than demand, right? So with that being said, we kind of ventured off into this AI realm way before ChatGPT, way before. We started in 2021. And from there, we initially started with the idea of an AI system helping to validate ideas, with the right evidence, the right sort of insights on that side. And we obviously evolutionize our tech, beta test it, got feedback, optimize the product. And this is where we are today on that side.
Why that niche also? I mean, it's a pretty cool niche, bringing AI to BI, sort of. Data is the new gold, quote unquote.
Yep.
Data isn't worth shit if you don't analyze it and make smart conclusions out of it. So your own brain algorithm needs to be advanced.
Right.
And to this day, I don't think most AIs are advanced enough to provide you aha pieces of data. Or maybe they could. Am I wrong in saying that?
It really depends on the tool and the use case as well, right? Just because from a user level, when it comes to research and data analyst, we still have to scour, explore, search for the lost, if that makes sense, right? And from there, based on what we're working on, we may, as humans, we have emotion tied to us. We have all these other things tied to us where in the data that we're analyzing, we may miss certain things, right? And we may oversee certain things that we have in our possession, meaning like, what is the true value of this piece of information, right? So on that side of the fence, when it comes to analyzing research, we have to really see the value of each data at certain point and also future, because as people, we tend to throw away certain things that may not be valuable today, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be valuable tomorrow. We don't know that, right? So with that being said, it's kind of like the right then and then also seeking the next step to see if all this research can build a story or if it's just a one-time thing, right?
Yeah. Who are your clients? Because
Yeah.
you mentioned banks and so forth. Usually these guys are sort of hard to get a hold of. They're super busy. They're somewhat arrogant. They think they know more, and they do know more
Yeah.
because they're all about privacy, right?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I know this, you don't. That's my edge. I don't think that's gonna last long, by the way. So who are your clients? How do you reach out to them? How do you convert them into clients?
Right. So in terms of like the outreach, the sales that we're doing, we're currently in 5 different industries. The top 2 is mostly healthcare and pharmaceuticals, banking, retail, and technology. Regarding how we're really connecting with these people, it's the best thing in the world is your network, really and truly. That's the most powerful asset you could possibly have. A lot of our networks were really warm, and it was just, hey, this founder is working on this. Would you take a look? Type of thing. And that's what led us to have more in-depth conversations with some of these large enterprise. The other way, surprisingly, organic marketing, email and LinkedIn, cold outreach, right? It does work in a sense. It always originates on your messaging and the length of it, right? As founders, as businesses, we can go on and on about our product. As consumers, we really don't care how it's cooked. We just really care what's being cooked and how does this taste, right? So on that side, in our messaging, it's at least we don't really talk AI because there's just a bunch of AI stuff right now, right? We still have to get down to the value point. What is it going to do? How is it going to do it? What is it going to cost you, right? All this other stuff. And this is how we're able to have a lot more valuable conversation as we go along.
Because I'd reach out to these folks via cold outreach, the best ROI growth methods out there, even in 2023, just that quite hard feat to do. I'd probably ask for referral in that industry as well. Hey, can you introduce me to X? I would still do it via cold email because, yeah, else it's crickets. For example, I have this CFO Wisdom podcast, and CFOs are very private by nature. They don't want to share much. So how do you get a hold of these folks? Is it like a long-term thing? Do you do account-based marketing in which you reach out to various folks at the same company? Do you hit a specific size of banks? Do you start with smaller ones and then go up the food chain? How do you go with that?
Yeah, I would say start off small, aim for big later. Just because when it comes to the enterprise, they obviously want to see rather than listen, right? That's the nature of it, right? So when we start off small, we get to get in the doors quicker because there's not a lot of bureaucracy or in the process of enterprise, right? And 2 and 3, right? 2 is to help validate the product that's being used, feedback, optimization, etc. And then 3, we have a case study that we can take to the enterprise saying, hey, we have a validation, we have some sort of metric behind us rather than us just talking out of our ass, right? So on that side, we have evidence that our product works in this, and this. Here you go, enterprise. Let's see how we can optimize your process on that side.
So you said the word ass. You can't swear on my pod. I'll have to edit that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We're live. Healthcare. How do you go with reaching out to healthcare and hospitals? Because these are also hard, right? I mean, you're obviously not reaching to doctors, but the folks that manage the hospital, for example, you've got experience in that. Me, it was very much blurred when I started in this domain. I didn't know the structure. I didn't even know that hospitals were managed, which looks silly in hindsight. But how do you reach out to these guys?
Yeah, so a lot of these healthcare companies now they're starting to extend their arms with everything that's going on in the tech world, the AI world, everything that's going on that side, right? And as we start to evolve in all areas, meaning there's more things happening based on stats, there's more epidemics happening, smaller, but still happening, right? Look at COVID, for example, there could be a potential one, who knows, right? So in terms of healthcare, they're a lot more open in terms of like trying to work with people, trying to evolve their medicine, et cetera, et cetera. How I got into contact with those guys is really connecting with our targeted audience, right? In terms of showcasing the product once again, right? Like, hey, here's a small little video of our product working for this specific thing. I would like your feedback or your thoughts on that, right? Which enables their thought, their mind to be a lot more higher at that scene. So we really showcased the product to those guys, and we also connected with multiple people at the companies, right? If you only have one contact, that's not going to do it, right? Because you never know what's going to happen. So for me, it was a multi-channel approach with some of these enterprise customers, because more support internally to say back up our end, like, hey, these guys actually have something pretty cool coming from like 4 to 5 people internally. It'll help boost up our credibility within their process there.
Right. Then on the product side of things, who's in charge of that in the company?
Yeah, so that'll be my oldest brother and co-founder, and also our engineering team. So my oldest brother used to be the director of AI and sales for Dell, and he's taking the lead in terms of Maya's memories, brain operations, AI, right? All this other stuff. And we have a pretty cool engineering team behind us, like from IBM, Apple, Google, Hugging Face, all these pretty credible companies, tech companies that we've Avenger assemble, if you want to call it that, right? And helping to build out the tech and stuff like that.
Right. How much do you charge and how much do you make sure that your customers are in love with the product and don't churn?
Yeah, so based on the nature of AI, it's really all about computation, usage, all this other stuff. So it varies depending on how much you use Maya, what's being computed, and et cetera, et cetera. So it really depends, right? So like in healthcare, obviously they're using Maya for a lot more complex and compliant sort of thing. So the bill is pretty high, on that side. But we do have some let's just say SMB companies that's using Maya for a lot more cheaper price, obviously. And we just rolled out our consumer plan this morning, which is like $150 a month compared to like all the other AI products in a similar price range, right? So that's just the market demand on that side.
Interesting. Who decides of well, tell us about the current features of Maya and then tell us about the roadmap of features that you have.
Yeah, so the current features of Maya, she's able to read unstructured data pretty easily now. So unstructured meaning like external data, like you have URLs, graphs, spreadsheets, documents, PDFs, audio, video, and more. What Maya is able to do is look at all of these media files, assess it, collect certain facts, collect certain information from it, and then also depending on what you as a user are looking out of it, Maya is able to go back to that information given, format it, structure it again, once do some more research, and then personalize that output to the user on that side. On the internal side, what she's able to do is do a lot of predictions, recommendations based on the data and the project or the query at hand. And then also there's vision models that we have to read things. We have sentiment analysis in there to recognize user for output delivery. We have federated learning, swarm learning within Maya, all this other sort of technological implements, on that side. On our roadmap, that's a great question. As we start to dive more in depth with some of our customers, they're asking us to have Maya a lot more hands off, right? So right now Maya is voice capable and also text capable. So you can text Maya and you can speak to Maya. Hey Maya, how the heck are you? On that side. So what we've seen from the healthcare and pharmaceutical side is they want Maya hands off, because a lot of them is working in the labs. It's very, very busy. People are up and down. and the way they take notes is still pen and paper, believe it or not, right? So with that being said, they just want to have a machine that they can yell at across the room to get certain informations out of it, you know.
How crazy is that? To ask someone to go from pen and paper to AI, don't you feel it's like going from a smart, the smart car to
Right.
a rocket? Don't you
Yeah, no
feel?
doubt. Yeah.
Because in my mind, first step is habits, right? So that's
Right.
probably the steps that they are at. They have the mental habit. They use their pretty little hands to write stuff on a paper.
Right.
Second step is templates. Well, I mean, how can you do that with pen and paper? To me, templates are digital, right? So I guess there would be the digital transition in between there. Third step is automation.
Right.
So to use apps like Zapier, for example. And fourth step is Maya's AI. Isn't that a huge challenge to ask them to go from paper to AI?
Not in the sense of recording things down and like actually note taking on that side. So in the labs, they're doing a lot of experiments, putting chemicals there, chemicals there. Sometimes they'll go to the machines to do research and stuff like that, where you can do that with Maya as well. So on the pen and paper side, in terms of actually doing the experimentation, it's mostly like a buddy system. Like, hey Maya, can you tell me about this compound element? What are the grams I'm needing to do for this experiment or whatever. These type of things they're asking Maya. So it's like how me and you are talking right now on that sense, right? So in terms of the actual note taking and all of that stuff, what Maya is able to do is not record, because in the labs it's pretty recorded anyways, it's all monitored anyways. So she's looking at everything that's going on, and then based on after that experiment or whatever is done, the lab scientists usually ask Maya, like, hey Maya, what did we do last week in this experiment, or something like that, like recollection, right, on that side. So they're using Maya on this side of the fence, rather than in-depth step-by-step note-taking, mathematical equations, drawing, that type of thing.
So when will I be able to ask Maya without connecting her too much? Like me, the ideal AI would just scrape everything, so they can take care of the legalities with that. Me, I don't care. I'm the consumer. I just want everything quick. So when
Right.
will Maya be able to inform me of very keen insights? Say, oh, Charles, if you want to start this list trading company, which I won't get into, but it's a cool company I'm starting today. That's an opportune time. When will she be able to give me Charles level or McKinsey, Bain, but Boston Consulting Group level insights?
Yeah, so this all has to do with like the personality aspect, the usage aspect as well. So when we give a Maya to anyone, we kind of pre-train her as well. Hey Maya, you're going to be working with Charles. He has this idea in, let's just say, trading, right? And stuff like that. So when Maya first gets to interact with users, she's already pre-trained to say, okay, well, we have an objective. Let's just work together to reach that, right? So on that side, as you begin to use her, she'll be able to pull in information from like Bain, McKinsey, all this other credible sources, and then pre-format that output back to you as the user, right? So one, she has some knowledge of what the objective is, the goal is. And then as she do research in these other areas, McKinsey, Bain, et cetera, it's going to be in accordance to that goal or that pre-training that she has there.
What's
And you can
next?
do that today. Yeah.
What's next for you guys? What do you want to accomplish in these next 6 months?
Yeah, that's such a great question, man. Really and truly, it's to really optimize everything that we have going on, from the way how Maya thinks to the way how Maya formats information in a personalized way. We're also working on her vision system to be a lot more accurate. Right now, it's I think it's at 87%, but we're trying to aim for like 95% and higher, right? So good goals, but hard work makes it there. So just really evolutionizing everything that we have right now, bro.
Love it. Where can people find out more about you and about Maya?
Yeah. Nice. Oh, was that a question or was that a statement?
That's a blooper right there. It
Yeah,
was a
no doubt.
question.
Right
Yeah,
now
where
we're
can people find out more about you? Like, I guess LinkedIn and Maya, if you could be cool and tell us about the website of.
yeah. So you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Shivam Ramphal, right? And you can also find our website at meetmaya.world. And you can check out our features, some of the information on there. Regarding like seeing Maya in action, we have a lot of video material on like YouTube and also TikTok and stuff like that. So if you want to see how Maya